What is going on? Hope everyone had a fantastic week. Welcome to episode 215 of Outside the Chute. I'm your host, Randy Frame. This week, we're joined by one of our faves ever on the pod, Canadian women's national team star, Larissa Franklin, and this conversation goes far beyond the field. The last time we had Frankie on, she was gearing up for the Tokyo Olympics, where she went on to help Team Canada capture bronze. But since then, her journey has taken turns that go way bigger than the game. We talk about the Olympic experience and what it truly meant to stand on that podium, but also the reality of what comes after, the mental grind, the transition, and finding your identity beyond the sport. Then we get into her toughest battle yet. Frankie opens up about her cancer diagnosis last year, the fight that followed, and what it took to push through one of the hardest chapters of her life. And now, well, she's back. Back on the field, back competing, and with her sights set on the 2028 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles, California. This is a raw, honest, and incredible power conversation, one I'm sure you're going to love. Before we get to it though, make sure to drop a comment on the show, give us some sort of rating, preferably something good, of course, come on. You can follow Frankie on Instagram at Larissa Franklin 26. We're at Outside the Chute on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok. If you have a YouTube account, please go subscribe. Like I say every week, we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. We're slowly, very, very slowly getting there, but we need your help. Come on. Anyways, let's get to this awesome episode. This is Outside the Chute, and anything goes.
I got the world in my palm, lights, camera, action, it's on. I can't describe what I'm feeling, ain't never felt this freedom. I got the world in my palm, lights, camera, action, it's on. Ain't never felt this freedom. Could you say that anything goes, anything goes, anything goes, anything goes, anything goes, anything goes.
All right, here we go. We are happy to have on with us today three-time WBSC World Cup bronze medalist, 2015 Pan American Games gold medalist, and 2020 Olympic bronze medalist with the Canadian women's national team. It's one of our all-time faves. It's the one and only Larissa Franklin. Frankie, thanks so much for coming back on the pod.
No, my pleasure. I'm happy to be here.
How's things going up in Ontario this evening?
Good. Had some training this afternoon with the girls, and I'm not going to tell you what we were working on. That would be spoiling our secrets. But had some training, got some physio in, and then just came home and ate some dinner. It's actually crazy how quickly we can, how quickly a day goes by when it comes to training. Like, I think we got there at 10 a.m. and I got home by like 4 p.m. with Toronto traffic factored in, obviously.
Wow. So who was all there? The regulars?
Today was, I hit with Erica and Janet, and then Dawn and Natalie were doing some pitching and catching, and everybody was doing some lifting and stuff. So
right on. Nice. Did Janet tell you I got to meet her on the weekend?
I actually meant to ask her if you saw her.
Yes, I got to talk to her.
That's great.
Yeah. I snuck up behind her. She was walking out of the dome, and I was like, Janet, and she turned around. And she's like, "Who are you?" She didn't say that.
Yeah.
But I was like, "It's Randy from Outside the Chute." And we hugged and talked for about 10 to 15 minutes. So no, it was all good. I was so glad I got to meet her. You, of course, didn't get to come down, unfortunately, but it was good meeting her.
I did not. I got a story for you.
Okay, let's hear it.
I was supposed to come and do the camp, and plans changed. I wasn't coming, but we already had a flight booked, and I really can't believe I'm sharing this. We already had a flight booked, and I kept seeing it in my app over like that my flight was still booked, even though I wasn't going anymore. So for whatever reason, the day of this flight, I went into the app and I was like, I'm just going to maybe like look into canceling it. And as I'm looking at canceling it, it's like, oh, they could get a $200 refund. I'm like, well, the people who booked this might want it. Like, I'm going to cancel it. And right as I clicked cancel, I was like, oh, crap. I was like, was Janet on my booking? And I didn't realize that we were on the same booking. So I called Janet. I'm like, dude, I think I canceled your flight. Can you look at it? She's like, yep, it's gone. And I was like, oh my God. Like all I had to do was not click the button. Like it was one of those like don't click the big red button, and I clicked the button.
That's amazing.
Needless to say, yeah, it was a costly mistake, but my biggest thing was Janet. I needed her to get there, and she got there right on time, so all was fine.
That's hilarious. I wish I had known that when I was talking to her. That would have been funny to bring up.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. So I guess, can you believe it's been over 5 years since we last chatted, which is crazy to me. What's so right now, like as of right now, besides the training, what's on the go? What's keeping you busy?
Yeah, no, I mean, it is crazy. I personally feel like a completely different person from the last time we talked, which
obviously
I think is kind of the goal as a human. You hope you evolve and you change and you grow. So, yeah, I'm currently living in Toronto, which is where I was at the time. I haven't really shared this too much, but I'm actually going to be moving back to BC this summer. So the time has been good in Toronto, but it's time to get home and time to do some BC hikes again. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to be moving in with Emma Ensminger, actually. She didn't have much of a choice, but a little bit of a choice. And yeah, no, so it's going to be fun. So that's kind of one big life update. And then, yeah, I work for RBC, which is great. Work in the sports sponsorship space, working on different things like the Olympic campaign and RBC Training Ground, if you've heard of it. So it's through the RBC Olympian program, but I'm really grateful for some of that in-office experience I've been able to get.
Right on.
And then another exciting thing is I just announced a softball camp that I'm going to be that I'm building for August. And I'm really excited. We're going to have a handful of national team players coming out, and I picked some really fun girls to be a part of it. So, yeah, that's just like a quick little overview of what's going on.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. Get back on Pacific time. You'll a little bit of adjustment there. What?
Sorry, what's that?
I said you're going to get back on Pacific time zone. A little bit of an adjustment.
Exactly. No, totally. And I'm already, I will say, being in Toronto, being on Eastern time, being right in the middle, center of the universe, they would say, has been very, very nice to go west or to go east. So yeah, that coming from Victoria all the way to the east is going to be an adjustment. I've been spoiled being in the middle here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, since I said it's been over 5 years since we last chatted, of course, last time you were on, we didn't have quick pitches, which is something you never got to do. So guess what? You're doing quick pitches. So
let's get it.
Random questions that I'm sure you're going to be able to answer no problem, because I know what you're like. You're going to be able to answer these great. So first one I always kick off with, it's if you had to live off one food for a week, what is it?
Cereal.
Cereal. I think you're the second one to say that. One was
really?
Yeah. Somebody did it like probably a couple months ago. I can't remember. That's crazy.
I hope milk is included in that.
I would hope so. You can't eat dry cereal, can you?
Great. No.
Biggest thing you miss at Western Kentucky?
Ooh, like the field and the fans and the atmosphere and just competing. Yeah, my mind went straight to just like being on the field and getting to compete every single day for something bigger.
Right on. Besides yourself, of course, who else on Team Canada likes to keep it loose?
Likes to keep it loose? Ooh. Naturally I was going to say Emma just because she's my buddy, but then I went to Janet. Okay. Maybe because she's got like butter hands when she's at shortstop. I don't know. She's just chill. She's chill.
All right. If you had to switch positions for a full season, where are you playing?
Can I say right field instead of center field?
No, you can't. You can't pick the outfield.
No outfield.
No outfield.
Okay, for a whole season.
Yeah.
Catcher.
Okay. All right. Get some tips from that there.
The team is not going to be in a good position, I'll be honest. But
no. Oh, that's awesome. You can have dinner with 3 people, living or dead. Who are they?
Oh, you know what? I was just thinking I need to figure out my answers to this question. let's just go Oprah. Let's go. I've been really enjoying videos with Lisa Kudrow, which is Phoebe from Friends. So let's go with her.
Yes.
And then final answer. Let's go somewhere. Oh, 3 people. Oh my gosh. You get your mindset on one thing. Like now I'm like, all I'm seeing is Friends and Jennifer Aniston. But I'm also terrible with names.
Okay.
So I can see them.
Who is it?
Randy Frame.
Oh, there you go. Here we go. What the?
No brainer.
I'm all up on that. Yeah. Lisa Kudrow and you. Oh, the conversations. Okay. Best walk-up song you've used or would like to use?
I love my walk-up song right now. I've been doing it for the last, handful of years at the Canada Cup. Crazy Train. Ozzy Osbourne.
Okay. I have a story about Crazy Train.
Yeah.
When I played junior hockey in Chute, that was our first song in warm up. Both like every year I played, and to this day, every time I hear Crazy Train, it takes me back to when I played junior hockey. So
it's such a sports song.
Oh, it's so good. It just puts you in a state like ready to play. I find. Yeah. What else do I have? If you weren't playing softball, what sport would you randomly dominate?
Ooh, the kickers dominate there. After the Olympics, actually before the Olympics, I was convinced that I was going to go out and try to switch sports to track cycling. I was so jazzed to do it that 5 weeks after the Olympics, I went out and I did like a 4-week trial. And I really loved it. But at that point, I think I was like 28, 29, and I just didn't really care to ever crash on the track. And I realized that I had more to give to the softball team. And so I ended up dropping that. But I do think maybe when I was younger, maybe not now, I could have been good at track cycling. But I truly wish that it was hockey. I would love to play hockey.
Right on. I wish cornhole was an Olympic event. Because man, I think I could get the Olympics in cornhole. I'm pretty good at it.
That's actually, they could add that to the World Games. That's where all the sports
that is true.
I think you have to have a federation though to be involved in that.
That is true. Well, and then again, they took softball to the Olympics for breakdancing. So, that's another story, but
yeah. Every sport wants to be in the Olympics, right? Like everybody thinks their sport should be in, they want it to be in. And, if everybody could have the chance to compete in the Olympics, right, that would be nice. But that's also what makes it truly special is that it is so unique and not every sport and not every person can get there. So.
That's right. 3 more here. If you could steal one skill from any teammate, what are you taking?
One skill from any teammate.
Yeah.
Now my mind's going to Janet again. Let's just say Janet's patience.
Okay.
I could use some patience.
Yeah. If you could go back and play one game over again, which one is it?
I think I would love to say the Olympics. Like obviously, we're very happy we got a bronze medal. We were so close to being in that final game. So I want to say one of those games where we lost 1-0 to Japan and to the US. But I think the one that I would say, like the game that lives with me the most right now, is our game against Chinese Taipei last year in the World Games. And this is a quick pitch, so I'll give you a quick answer instead of elaborating on this. But yeah, that's a game that really sticks with me, which is a good time to have some fuel.
Right. Yeah. I 100. We'll get into that game in a bit here. Okay. Down the line. Last one. When's our next Fake Training Friday coming?
Fake Training Friday. I I got a pretty exciting thing planned to announce the coaches for my softball camp, and I'm looking forward to sharing that one with everyone.
Okay, all right, I love it. Actually, I got to laugh some of the stuff that you posted recently. Is like you guys trying to catch that balloon was probably one of the funniest things I've ever watched.
Yeah, I'm enjoying kind of dabbling in some other things. I know fake training has been the bread and butter, but I don't know. I'm really just enjoying creating some fun, funny videos that keep things light, and I don't know. We have a lot of fun making them. So.
Oh, definitely, and trying to get the ball down from the net on the ceiling. That was a good warm up.
It's so real, right?
Yeah, like exactly, it 100% is. Like it's so true, though.
Yeah.
And I mean, even with the balloon, trying to catch that balloon, that's a good workout to, get yourself loose.
Yeah, no, definitely athleticism involved and reaction. And I mean, it keeps things interesting. And especially, like I said, when we're training 4 or 5 hours a day, it's nice to keep things light.
Absolutely. All right. So last we chatted, you were getting ready for Olympics in Tokyo. So that seems like a great place to start from. Was the extra year wait worth it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think everybody on the team would say that extra year was exactly what we needed. I'd love to say that we would have medaled without it, but I think going into that extra year as a team, we answered the question and we shared it with each other. Like, how are you going to use this next year to get better? And everybody had to share one or two things. And I think that we can look back and we can say, like, we fully used that year. And when we stepped on the field at the Olympics, we knew that we were more prepared than any other country there. Or at least we felt like we were. I'm sure other teams would argue, but we felt like we were. And I think that's where the confidence came from and the belief and the trust in each other. So, looking back, that year was pivotal for us to take the lead.
Now, walk us through that whole thing. Cause I mean, the competition was so tight. And like you said, those 1-0 games against Japan and US. I mean, seriously, the competition was so tight that you guys could have not medaled, but you also could have won gold. Like that's how tight it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, let me just share a hot take. So, the saying, how people are like, if I said, oh, if we win, and then someone's like, no, it's not if you win, it's when you win. I don't believe that. Like, I don't believe it's when you win, because it is sports and anything can happen in sports. And yes, we felt like we were more prepared than anyone. Yes, we knew we had the people to do it. But at the end of the day, we didn't do it, and they did. And even against Japan, we went to 8 innings and they ended up getting the hit when they needed the hit. And, I don't think you can necessarily say that the team that wins is the better team. That's not always the case. You see it very often that the team that loses might have played the better game, whether that's in softball or another sport. So, it was tight. I think the thing that we can hang our hats on is we knew we did everything that we could to be prepared for that moment. And of course, we wish that the result was different, but I think that's the thing I've learned in my time on the national team and in my career as a softball player is, there's going to be wins and there's going to be losses, but can you put your head on the pillow at night and really look back and be proud of the work that you put in?
Yeah, true enough. That's so very true. Walk us through when Danielle struck that final batter out for Mexico to get you the bronze.
So, I mean, the crazy thing, you might not have even seen it on TV, but in the outfield, we were in what's called no doubles. So no doubles is essentially where we put our butts basically on the fence, and the goal is to keep them from hitting a double. Because if we can force them to have to hit 2 balls, it's going to be a lot harder for them to score. But if we're playing in and they hit the ball past us, that run, I can't remember where the runner was. I do not have a memory like a steel trap when it comes to games. But if that ball gets past us, the run scores. They were probably on first base.
First base, yeah.
So we were in no doubles. My butt's on the fence. And I remember she threw that last pitch, and I ran in as fast as I could. And I had to keep running because I could not have been farther away. And I'm running as fast as I can. Thank God speed's on my side. And I remember just jumping on top of everybody and just the relief that was felt, because like I said, like, you've put everything in and you've prepared and we knew that, but just for the final pitch to be thrown and to know that we had just won an Olympic bronze medal, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it, because it's something you can't describe. I mean, winning in sports, a lot of people get to experience it. And yeah, for us, obviously winning on the Olympic stage was so special, and to do it with those girls was even more special.
Absolutely. It was fun to watch, especially, sitting here at home and watch. I also said, every time, I have somebody on here that was in those Olympics, the one thing I talk about is how you could hear you guys talking because there was no fans. And I thought that was the coolest thing of it all, like hearing you guys talking, because a lot of people wouldn't be able to hear that if there's a crowd there. And, it's just one of those things that I thought was pretty cool, personally.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. And I feel like there should have been some sort of warning.
Yeah, that's true.
It was even, honestly, like, I even forgot at times, most times, that it was even being broadcasted across the whole world, because when we looked around, all I saw was our team and then the opposing team in the other dugout. And there truly was no fans in the stands. Like, there was 30,000 seats and no one was there. And other than that, you just saw these boxes, and the boxes were essentially cameras, and these cameras are sending this game out to the world. So, you almost you forgot. It was easy to forget, and you knew the stakes, but there were even moments where I'm like, wow, this feels a little bit like an exhibition game, even though you still knew that it was very important.
Yeah. From a mental standpoint, it's like your mind's playing tricks on you, kind of like you're in the Olympic Games, but there's nobody here. It kind of feels kind of weird, right?
Totally, exactly. And I think what was special about that, and I'm sure the other girls have shared this with you, but the fact that it was myself, 14 other players, our staff, and that was it. Like, we would have loved for our family and our friends to be in the stands, of course, and that would have made it a completely different experience. But there was something special about sharing that moment with the 14 other women plus staff who had all grinded and who were a part of the journey from beginning to end. It was truly special. Yeah,
no doubt. So, as you sit here today, how amazing is it to call yourself an Olympic medalist?
Well, I'm happy to report that it has sunk in.
I was going to ask. How long did it take?
Longer than I would have expected, like at least a year, definitely a year, maybe within that year to two gap where, I didn't really feel like an Olympian. And I think even longer than that, probably 3-4 years, actually still today, it's hard for me to say I'm an Olympian. I think I've gotten better at it, but saying I'm an Olympian or I'm an Olympic medalist, I think we're taught humility in this sport, and although I don't have that most of the time, all the time, I will admit there's some overconfidence there. But I think, you're taught to kind of be humble, and at times you might diminish what you've achieved, whether that's in sports or otherwise. So it took a while to really sink in and to own it.
Right on. Swing the next evolution of one-piece fast pitch power, the 2026 Easton Ghost Unlimited Fast Pitch Bat. This year's model takes everything hitters loved about the Unlimited and pushes it even further, delivering a hotter, cleaner, and more responsive feel than ever before. With a redesigned double-barrel EXT and a fully optimized handle system, the 2026 Ghost Unlimited is engineered to outperform both prior Ghost Unlimited models, with more consistent exit speeds and improved overall barrel response. A key upgrade comes from its optimized handle stiffness, engineered individually for each drop and length. Shorter and lighter sizes feature a slightly softer feel for better control, while longer and heavier sizes unlock a stiffer handle that creates a more powerful connected swing. Compared to the previous Unlimited designs, this fine-tuned handle optimization allows hitters to generate more leverage without sacrificing comfort or feel. The improved double-barrel EXT design delivers even more consistent pop from end to end than past Unlimited barrels, while the Sonic Comp Pro composite brings Easton's lowest compression and most durable one-piece construction yet, resulting in higher performance potential than the previous two Unlimited models, paired with that unmistakable Ghost sound. Combined with the Power Boost soft knob and reduced sting across all sizes, the 2026 Ghost Unlimited offers smoothest, hottest one-piece experience the Ghost lineup has ever produced. Get your 2026 Easton Ghost Unlimited fast pitch bat and feel what happens when refined feel and next-level barrel tech come together to create the most advanced Unlimited yet. So did winning the bronze feel like a culmination, or, did it leave you wanting more?
Ooh. It felt like enough for a long time, I will say.
Right.
For me, I've always loved softball. I went through a period of burnout with the sport, which I never would have imagined I would go through. And then you don't really know how it's going to feel after the Olympics. But for me, it was challenging. It was challenging to know that we weren't going to be on the Olympic stage for another 7 years. And I think more than that, it was that the commitment wasn't the same as it is for the Olympics. So you go from your whole world revolving around your sport and preparing for it. And now, not only am I a softball player, but I'm now trying to find my identity outside of sport. And I really struggled with that piece of things, of like trying to find who I am outside of sport, so much so that I actually went through a period where I didn't even want to be an Olympian. Well, like I remember thinking to myself, I don't want to be an Olympian anymore, because that's how everybody saw me, is I was Larissa Franklin, the Olympian. And I know that's crazy. Like, if anyone's listening, they're like, how could you not want to be an Olympian? Like, people ask me all the time, do you wear your medals to the grocery store? I don't. But I think, it's hard to wrap your head around that. But for me, I wanted to be something else. I wanted to be more than just an athlete. That's what I had been my whole life. And even within our team, I think I'd been on the team now for 10 plus years, and I felt like the person that I was when I came on the team was the same person I had to be currently on the team. And so I had to learn how to, be the 2.0 version of myself, and allow myself to be the 2.0 version of myself. It was a big, learning curve, but I remember my teammates, I had this conversation with them, and they're like, show up how you want. Like, we don't care. And they very much gave me permission to just be who I was, and to be the goofy, quirky person, but then to also show more of that vulnerable and soft side. And so it definitely was a transition after the Olympics. Probably three years of that piece of things. But after this last season, I sat down in September and I wrote down various things I was going to commit to from recovery to training to sleep and nutrition. And I put aside some goals, and I felt like that really helped me dial in and to feel like an Olympic athlete again. And I was ready to kind of welcome that in, because I now had discovered myself outside of sport. So it makes it more fun when you're fully committed and you're all in, obviously. And now I'm just pumped to be able to help the team take those next steps and hopefully head to another Olympic Games.
Right on. You just answered about 4 of my questions with that one answer, but that's all good. I never even thought about, athletes after the Olympics, kind of having that calm down of, you're an Olympian essentially, but then having to deal with being an Olympian. Probably everybody every day is like, oh, I'd love to be an Olympian. I can handle anything. But like you said, I mean, there's some negativity, I guess. I don't want to say negativity, but there's some hurdles, I guess, to face being an Olympian, correct?
Yeah. I think if you do anything that you do to the extreme, like high performance athletes specifically are doing everything to the extreme amount. Like the regimentedness and, they're not willing to necessarily change their routine, and the discipline is great, but it doesn't necessarily allow you to sway away from that. But I think everybody in their own regard kind of can struggle or question the identity piece. Like most people, when asked, the first question people ask is, what do you do? And that instantly, once people answer that question, now they've kind of put them in a box and they see them a certain way. So anyone that's trying to evolve, maybe become someone new, maybe venture into a new career path or do something new, it's hard to kind of get away from how people are perceiving you. Right. So I think it's the same. It's just an Olympian versus someone who works in corporate or someone who is a nurse or whatever it may be, works at a coffee shop. So
right. Oh, it makes sense. Makes total sense. I was going to ask about, once you get back to, the grind of the Olympic or the national team. I mean, you guys after the Olympics had a huge turnover. I mean, Dan's gone, Rafter, Lauren, Jenna, J-Sal, Vic, Joey's gone. I mean, How was it, with the new ones coming in? How has their transition been into the international game, I guess I'd say?
Yeah, it was fun to be a part of a rebuilding. And I think we had the confidence that we could rebuild because we had such a strong group of girls that returned. There's no doubt that the girls that had retired had paved a way for us. We had learned so much from them. They were elite athletes, complete professionals. And obviously their time had to come and gone, but we had a solid group. We had Rafter now at the helm as the head coach. We had assistant coaches like Coach Jones that were in place, and Joey Lai that was now on the staff. And we knew we were in a good place with returning people. Mm-hmm. And then, it was interesting to have new players coming to the team. I think year one, the returners were the most focused on, making sure that those athletes came in and felt comfortable and felt like they could start to have a voice on the team. And obviously no one's going to come to a new environment and feel like they can speak up right away. But that was our goal, was to make them feel like they were a part of the team. We knew that a big part of the narrative was going to be the Olympics and the Olympic team. And that's important. And I think that helped kind of set our course. Mm-hmm. We also wanted to make sure that, yes, there's that team, but we want to level up if we can. Right. And that doesn't come quick. That doesn't come easily. But one thing I will say that Rafter did very early on is she got those girls in different situations as early as possible. I remember we were playing in Guatemala the year after the Olympics, and we were playing in the final game. It was us against the U.S. We had been playing really, really well. And for that final game, if you would have looked at our lineup, people might have been quite surprised with who was starting and who was playing. And that was strategic on Rafter's part, that she was trying to get people in a gold medal game experience as early as possible. And, now you see those players, they've had that experience. It's been 3 years since definitely been longer, 4 years, something like that since the Olympics. 3 seasons, I guess, of these girls playing. And it's cool. They're now they're owning their preparation. They're speaking up. You see their personalities coming out. You see them holding their own in those big situations. And it's been really, really fun to watch their evolution. And from my part, to be able to get closer with these girls, to build those relationships, knowing how strong the relationships were with the Tokyo team, it's fun to see these relationships now coming to life. And I know that once we go through the grind together and we go through the hard things, we're going to be so bonded after this experience. And it's been very fun to be a part of the rebuilding.
No doubt. It seems like there's a good crew there. Cause I mean, I've had Zoe on here and Rackle and, a couple others, and it seems like they're bought into what, Rafters and everybody else goal is. And it just seems like, I feel like you guys are in for something special here in the, especially come 2028 for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal. Everybody always says, like, what's the pressure like in the Olympics? And the pressure really, like, yes, the Olympics come with pressure, but you're prepared for that pressure. That's the work you put in. But the pressure beforehand, I think, there's so much more, right? Like, every single day, it's easy to ask yourself, am I doing enough? And easy to look at your prep and maybe question it sometimes. I think that's the thing I'm excited about for me personally with the second Olympic run is I kind of know what I need to do now and I know how to prepare, but it's normal to push. And if people are doing great things, I don't even know where I was going with this answer. I had something and completely lost it.
It's all good. It's all good. I mean, let's talk about some pressure. Cause I mean, you've over the last year and a couple months, you've faced a lot of pressure. Let's go back to, what was it? Was it January, February last year when you got diagnosed?
Yeah, that's when the official diagnosis was in January. But I would say all of that kind of started the summer before when we were together as a team in the summer.
So, and yeah, what, like, no, go ahead. What raised the red flags?
Yeah. I had been kind of, I guess I had felt off for a couple of years, which still doesn't make sense to me because the diagnosis ended up coming back as an aggressive form of cancer, just to drop where we're getting to right now. Right. But so I really don't know why I was feeling off for 2 years, but in particular that summer, I felt a bump in front of my ear on my parotid gland, and I told our athletic therapist about it, and she was like, okay, let's monitor it, which we were already kind of monitoring some lymph nodes because things were just weird. And fortunately, I already had an appointment with the ear, nose, and throat doctor scheduled for October. So I was like, okay, we just need to get closer there. And the closer we got, the more it was kind of hurting. But as an athlete, you don't feel or see pain the same way. So for me, I was just like, it's a little uncomfortable, right? Like right. For most people, it would have been a big red flag. Like it would have been painful. But to me, I was just like, something just seems a little weird. Anyways, I went to that appointment, and the ear, nose, and throat doctor, he said, we can biopsy this if you want. And I was like, well, yes, I want. And I got that biopsy. And then 2 months later, it came back as suspicious for lymphoma. So I still had to go through other tests to figure out what stage was it, what kind of lymphoma is it. And I didn't get the official diagnosis until January of 2025.
Wow. That's crazy. So, you got the diagnosis. What was going through your mind when they told you?
Yeah. I think at that point I had already gone through worst case, best case scenario. I had played things over and over again in my head. I was suspicious. And so when I got the news, I was kind of not surprised. Like it wasn't necessarily a shock because I had already played it in my head over and over and over again. And I'm not one to catastrophize, but you just naturally you go there. So I got the news. I walked out of the hospital. I nonchalantly texted Erica Polidori, who knew I had the appointment, and I was like, it came back as cancer. Like, just said it like I was asking her if she wanted to hang out on the weekend. And she called me, and I filled her in and stuff. And then I got in the car and ended up calling my family, who didn't know I was going through that testing. Really, they kind of knew that I'd been feeling that bump, but they didn't fully know what was going on, because I didn't want to worry them if I didn't have to. Wow. And so I called them, which honestly was probably one of the hardest phone calls I've ever had to make. It's pretty weird to tell your parents that your 31, 32-year-old Olympian daughter has cancer.
Right.
And at that point, we obviously didn't know how bad it was. So I was very distracted, obviously. I think distracted puts it nicely.
Yeah.
Distracted for a handful of weeks until we started to get those results back. But at that point too, I also felt kind of lifted up. I think early on, I felt like I was trudging along and trying to do it alone. And then once I had a little bit more of a diagnosis, I felt like the doctors were supporting me, our staff and our coaches were supporting me, teammates were supporting me. And that made it a whole lot easier to go through. But I think the hard part too, and I think the hard part with anything was the uncertainty, like not knowing what the next year was going to look like. And crazy enough, after I got the initial, like, it's suspicious for lymphoma, 2 days after I ended up going to Costa Rica because I already had this flight booked. I was going for the Canadian Association for Professional Speakers convention. And I was like, well, there's no use me sitting at home. Like, I'm going to go to Costa Rica. And if you spend some time around professional speakers, they are some of the most ambitious, goal-oriented people. And that's coming from an athlete. Like,
right.
They have a plan, they have a strategy. So all of my conversations with people there were like, oh, how are you going to use this for the next year? What are your goals for the next year? And I was like, dude, I'm just trying to survive. Like, I don't know. So it was a pretty weird feeling to go there and for everything to be about like getting better, growth. And I think I also needed that reality check because that's what my whole life had been.
Right.
My whole life was about getting better and building on top of things. And great, you've done this, go do something more. And even after the Olympics, like I felt like, okay, I've now gone to the Olympics and I've done X, Y, Z. Like if I don't do something better than this, I'm not getting better and I'm not successful. So that was a whole other narrative that I was working through. And I think going to that convention and being like, man, none of this matters. Like,
right.
It doesn't matter if I grow my business. It doesn't matter if I make another national team. It doesn't matter if we go to okay, this sounds bad. It doesn't matter if we go to the Olympics. It does matter. I think I just settled more on the fact of like, as I was sitting at home on my couch and I had limited energy, I also had a decision of like, what do I actually want to do? And I realized that the only thing I wanted to do in that moment was go to practice and just hang out with my friends. And that put things into perspective that I was like, it's not about winning the medal and it's not about being the best because I had been fueled to be the best for my entire life. Like it truly is just about like being around the people you love, giving love, receiving love. And I think when you can kind of live your life more in that direction, then the results and the success will come.
Right. Absolutely. Now, like during your, your treatments and stuff, was there a moment where things shifted mentally for you where you said, you've got this, or did you have that right from the get go? You're like, I got this.
Yeah, I think I surprised myself, honestly, at my mindset through it all. Very early on, probably before I even got like the official diagnosis in January, I remember standing in my kitchen and thinking to myself, it's going to get hard before it gets good.
Right.
And I just knew it was going to get hard. I knew that like, who knows how many months this is going to take. But I also knew that if I could get through this and if I could push through, that the other side of it was going to get really, really good. And whether that was going to be true or not, I fully believed it. And so that was an initial mindset. And then I just got really curious about it all. I'm a curious person naturally. And I was curious about how everything was going to happen. Like, how am I going to feel? How am I going to feel going through chemo and then training? How am I going to feel when I lose my hair? How am I going to look when I lose my hair? So I just tried to get curious about everything. And in doing so, it kind of calmed the fear.
Right.
And it made me less scared. And I was more focused on, I guess, on like what I could control instead of all of the things that I couldn't control, because there was obviously a lot. So, I was very shocked by my mindset, but I honestly think that the work I had done, the 3 years post-Olympics leading up to this diagnosis with a therapist, on my own, reflecting, journaling, all of that stuff was kind of came together. And I think it prepared me to have the mindset to get through that, along with all of the other stuff that I had learned through sport.
Right on. So when did you was it like 3 days before camp that you got the word that it was in remission?
Yeah, exactly. So I started chemo in February, and the doctor kind of told me the plan. He was like, you're going to do 4 rounds of chemo every 3 weeks. So I'm like, okay, February, 1, 2, 3, March. And I'm doing the math. Yeah. I'm like, okay, the last one will be April 15th. So I guess we're getting close to kind of when that last treatment was a year ago. And I'm doing the math. I'm like, okay, April, but then of course you don't finish chemo and then instantly be able to travel and go play elite sport. So I'm like, there's going to have to be a buffer in there. So after I finished the chemo, I knew that I was going to have to wait. I was going to have to get more scans. And then he was going to have to say that I was in the clear. But early on, I was like, so you're telling me we'll be done in April. I was like, what do you think the chances are of me being able to go play for the national team the first week of June? And he thought about it and he was like, yeah, I think that's doable. And I was like, great, that's all I need to hear. Oh, nice. And I left that conversation and I was so stoked for the challenge to be able to train through it. I knew obviously there was going to be moments that weren't easy, but after being on the national team for 12 years or something, like I was just very welcoming of the challenge. I'm like, let's do it. Let's see what this feels like. Let's push and let's try to make the team. And in the back of my mind, I knew there was that possibility that something could be out of my control. That treatment might not go how I planned, or it might take me past the date that Coach Rafter would have to make a decision. But I also knew that what I could control was putting in the effort, as much effort as I had, and the work, and getting myself prepared. So if the timing did work out, that I was ready to go.
Right on. So how big of a role did your teammates have in getting you to where you were? Because I mean, I'm sure like your crew that you hang with, I know they probably played a big role in keeping your morale up and whatnot.
Yeah, that was one of the things very, very early on before the diagnosis, really, that I was worried about, because I'm living in Toronto. All of my family is in BC. I have my teammates, yes, but I was like, how am I going to get to appointments? Like, what if I can't cook food? What if I can't get off the couch? How am I going to do this on my own, really? Right. And I very quickly learned that I was not going to be alone, and that I wasn't. Like my teammates drove me to appointments. Jenna Kyra, who played on the Olympic team, she drove me to an appointment. Natalie came to an appointment. Janet was just, she was there, and her and Erica both said that I could come and I could hang out and they could cook me food. And then Erica, like, I can't say enough about the support. Honestly, she's just like an incredible friend, incredible human. Like she's pragmatic. Like the amount of conversations that I had, that I'm like, listen, this is what's going on. And she's like asking all the questions, and then she's like, okay, I think this is what it means. I'm like, okay, thanks. Like I needed that. Like her being a nurse, I think really, really helped.
Right. Yes.
But honestly, I just can't even, it's so hard to put into words what those girls mean to me and how much I appreciated their support through it. I know my parents were very worried about me and about me being alone. And I tried to reassure them. I was like, no, I'm good. And I can honestly say there was not 1 second after I got diagnosed that I felt alone. And that's truly a testament not only to the people here in Toronto, but just all of the other people too that reached out and sent their love.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So I guess like going through all that, did the whole experience change how you view success or competition or anything like that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to win. Don't get me wrong.
Of course.
I want to say I'm the most competitive person I know, but anyone that says that, I'm like, everybody thinks that.
Yes.
But I really, I think me being a competitor is what has allowed me to get to where I am in my career. And I think the losses and the wins, they just hit different. I think I'm able to put more weight on, my experience with my friends, with my process, just with the day-to-day. It very much changed my perspective. And I think I now have a healthier relationship with competition. I have a healthier relationship with winning and losing. And to be honest, I no longer let my identity live in the wins and the losses. Mm-hmm. I'm able to kind of step back and see it for what it is. And I'm just incredibly grateful, just every chance I get to step on the field, to get to be around those girls, and honestly, just to live. Like, it puts everything into perspective. Right.
That was my next question. I was going to say, what did it feel like the first time you stepped back on the field for the first time after everything?
I think I had envisioned it. So, like, one particular moment doesn't necessarily stick out when I first stepped on the field. But the one thing I had envisioned a lot as I was sitting on the couch going through treatment was Canada Cup.
Right.
And for me, that was kind of like the goal of, I want to be on the field for Canada Cup. And I also had imagined, like, if this doesn't go my way, I was like, I'm going to fly out to Canada Cup and I'm going to be the best fan I can be and cheer those girls on. Mm-hmm. And so I envisioned that too. But I imagined that moment, getting to step on the field at Canada Cup, because that tournament's always so special to me. My friends and my family come out and watch, and just being in front of Canadian fans. And just because I grew up watching the tournament and loved how fun it was, that I think I just love that tournament. So I imagined it. And on the first game that I played at the Canada Cup, my first at bat, I ended up hitting a home run. And
I was going to ask you about that.
It's one of those moments that, like, you hear that happen to everybody else. Like, yeah, kind of a storybook ending in many ways. But you don't really think it's going to happen to you. But I think there's some sort of magic there. And maybe it's my knack for hitting rise balls too that helped. But yeah, that was a pretty cool moment. And one of the photographers, Nathaniel, actually captured the home run shot in with my family cheering in the background, which is so cool to me, because it took everyone and everything to get me back on the field. So that was a pretty cool moment.
I was watching the feed when you did that, and I was the first thing I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" I was like, "Of course that happened." I was so happy for you. It was just such a moment. It was such, like, just one of those. It was a sporting moment. It really was. It really
totally.
Yeah. Man, yeah. It was awesome. So I mean, you did the Canada Cup, like 2025. I mean, your comeback in 2025. Of course, I mean, you got the Harry Jerome Comeback Award for Sport BC, and then of course Softball Canada Player of the Year for 2025. I mean, was that on your list? At the beginning of summer last year? Like, I mean, that's just crazy the way you went off.
Yeah, I think. The story kind of wrote itself, right? Like. Yeah, I had to put in the work and I had to do all of that. But I've been saying a lot, like, to me, being an athlete comes easy. The work, the discipline, the confidence, the pressure, like, all of that's kind of, it's easy. I do it. Just, it's all I know. Like, it's my DNA. So I think, like, no, I didn't necessarily know I would get an Athlete of the Year or the Comeback Awards. Like, I didn't know that even existed. But I think the story was just written and I just had to live it and I had to do it and I had to take things stride by stride. And that's really how I try to live my life is I don't have much of a plan. I don't have much of a plan of like what I'm doing. I mean, it might look different. Like obviously you have to have somewhat of a plan to, there's a small plan when it comes to my softball career and there's a plan when it comes to building this softball camp. But for the most part, I kind of just let life hand me my cards and I just play what I got. And I like to kind of just ride the wave and take things in stride. So, those awards were cool. I think I'm done with them for a bit. I think I've probably milked all the ones that are accessible to me. But I also know that, like, yes, I came back and yes, I had like a pretty good season, but there's so much more in the tank for myself and for the team. And I'm just really excited about the future and the direction of this program. And it's going to be an exciting 2 years in the lead up to the Olympics.
Well, that was my next question. What's, LA 2028? That's obviously the goal. What are you and what's the team doing to, I guess, more or less get there, I guess?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not far away. I mean, it might seem like it, but it's go time. Like this coming year is the next step of the qualifiers. And if you qualify out of this stage qualifier, you go to the World Championships. And then the World Championships is a qualifier for the Olympic Games potentially. And then we have other, it's just all qualifiers now. And then not only that, it's experience playing international teams. The more of these tournaments you can play in, the better prepared you're going to be. So, it's wheels are in motion, and I think we are having hard conversations, and we are having to, I don't like the word sacrifice, but like you're kind of having to make some decisions and you're having to prioritize differently. And you have to be all in at this point. And like I said, it's fun to do it the second time around and kind of know, but it's also ensuring everybody around you is moving as well. And then not only that, like people keeping me accountable too. Natalie Weidman actually asked me a couple months ago, she's like, what are you doing to get a little bit more uncomfortable? And I was like, thanks. At this point, she was going down to play in Mexico and stuff. And I was like, okay, I don't have to ask you that question, but, so it's good too, to have that reality check from other people. And I think, I'm constantly trying to push, but it can also, there's moments of complacency. So having people in your corner that can ask you those tough questions and keep pushing you is valuable as well.
Yes, definitely. Now, I asked Janet when I was talking to her last weekend this question, and I want to hear your answer. How do you feel about the Olympics being in OKC and not LA? It's not cool. Right. I agree. I'm with you.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like, we could sit there and we could say, at least we're in, right? Like, we've been fighting to be in, but at least we're in. But like, every athlete wants the full Olympic experience. You want to be in the Olympic Village. You want to be with the other athletes. You want to feel and see the magic around you. And I think as softball players, we've been getting the short stick for so often that, our standards are lower, that we just want to be in. But, that's my non-diplomatic answer. If I had to find the other side of it, sure. Like, that's the capital for softball. But, I worry about the capacity and various things. And obviously, should we get there, we are going to be stoked to just be there.
Right.
But of course, you would love to have the full Olympic experience and get to be around everyone else and stuff. And I think the bigger thing for me too, just the final note is, our families didn't get to come to Tokyo. And fortunately, they'd get to come to Oklahoma. But they'd get to come to Oklahoma, but they're not going to get the full Olympic experience either. Like, I would love for them to get to come and watch our softball game and then go and watch a soccer game or go and watch gymnastics or another sport. And that's not going to be an option for them. So I think just in thinking about with them too.
Yeah. I'm with you. Like I said the same, like when I said to Jan, I was like, they had how many years to build a stadium in LA or in California to, they could replicate OKC like easily. Like they have the land there. Like it's not a problem. It just baffles me that they put it there. I'm sure there's politics involved and whatnot, but that it is what it is. But like you said, you guys are missing out. Like, can you imagine being in LA and, Canada basketball team is playing Team USA at Staples Center, and you could and it's an off day, and you can go watch that. But I don't know. That's anyway. That's just me venting.
And I do know that they didn't want to build new infrastructure, which is fair. I think I just expected that it would kind of be like Tokyo, where we'd play in the same stadium as baseball, like Dodger Stadium. Obviously, there's whole other logistics with the mound. So I'm really curious why that wasn't the option. I'd love to be a fly on the wall and really know the full decision, because I think they're
probably because they'd be in season. They'd be in season, right?
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, that would be the only. But I mean, what's them to go on the road for 2 weeks? That's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, we could. Somebody out there knows. So if you're listening to this podcast and you want to let us know,
we're going off on a tangent right now on the Olympic stuff. One thing before I get to the final question, I wanted to ask you about the RBC training ground, because you mentioned it earlier. Maybe talk about that and what that all entails.
Yeah, I think RBC training ground is honestly one of the coolest, best opportunities for any athlete in Canada. I would have done it if I would have known about it or been within the age, because the age is, anybody between the age of 14 to 25 can go out. It is free to attend. Essentially what it is as an athlete, you go to this event and you go through 4 different tests: speed, strength, endurance, and power. You do all 4 of these tests, and that data gets sent to the national sport organizations that are partners of this program. And those coaches and high performance directors look at it, and they pick out the athletes that they think would be specifically skilled within their sport. So for example, someone like track cycling might look at the speed station and the power station, or someone from rowing might look at endurance, plus they might look at the athlete's height and wingspan, because they love a tall athlete that has good endurance. So it's essentially taking these specific tests and allowing a lot of sports to see the potential in athletes that might not compete in it. Because let's be honest, how many 8-year-olds do you see pushing a bobsleigh?
Right.
It doesn't happen. You can't do it at 8 years old, but you can do it at 25, 26, later on in your life, you can push this bobsleigh. You probably have the weight and the power to be able to do it at that point. And that's kind of what we've seen with RBC Training Ground as well, as these athletes that later on in their careers are able to transition to other sports. But I think it's such a cool program. And the thing is, there's 20 qualifiers across Canada this year, and it's free to attend. So you really have nothing to lose by going out and just testing. At the very least, you're put in a situation where you get to have to overcome some nerves and some pressure. And all of those things are going to make you a better athlete, whether it's in a new sport or in your own sport. So I think it's such a character thing as well, where you truly show, are you a competitor? Do you want to just get after it? Just go to RBC Training Ground. That sounds like such a plug. And honestly, it is, because I think from an athlete perspective, it is such an amazing opportunity for anyone that possibly wants to make it to the Olympic Games. Absolutely.
And I think I was listening to a interview you did with CBC Radio, where was there a soccer player that went and did it and went on to cycling, and then something like that? Was it, there was a soccer player?
Kelsey Mitchell. She's such a machine.
Yes.
She is she was a varsity soccer player until 25. And then she was like, well, now what do I do with my life? And she went out to RBC Training Ground. She got identified by track cycling. Within a couple of years, she had a world record, and then she became a gold medalist in Tokyo. And then just this last year, around last summer, she was like, I'm going to go do bobsleigh. And so she went and she did bobsleigh and ended up making the Olympic team for Milano Cortina. So she's a 3-time Olympian. She's the first dual sport Olympian for RBC Training Ground. And yeah, she's just a machine. Like, obviously that takes a certain kind of mindset too, to believe that you can do it.
Oh, 100%.
I think Kelsey would be the first person to say that she has a good amount of overconfidence, and I can relate to that. But, yeah, like an incredible story. And, you know, there's another story with Marion Tano, who was a gymnast, and she knew how to flip. And then essentially she went out to RBC Training Ground, and she was discovered by freestyle skiing aerials, the one where you go up the jump, you do a bunch of flips, and you land on your skis. And she knew how to flip and just had to learn how to do it with skis on. So such cool stories.
That's
and
crazy.
I think
that's crazy. Wow.
Yeah. And I think that's what I love about just life in general is, like, why have a plan for yourself? Like, there's so much more out there that is possible that even you don't know of. I'm such an opportunist that I just want to take advantage of every single opportunity possible. I also want to provide as many opportunities possible for people because of that. And I think RBC Training Ground is just one of those incredible opportunities for any athlete.
That's amazing. That's so awesome. So yeah, anybody listening, if you're an athlete between 14 and 20, what was it?
14 to 25.
There you go. Check this out. I mean, you may have something. Like you definitely may have something. So definitely check it out. Last question here, Frankie. I'm gonna close it with this. If someone listening right now is going through the toughest battle of their life, what would you say to them?
Usually I have a faster answer than this.
That's all right. Tough question.
My mind just went to just keep moving forward.
Yeah.
I think just I'm feeling for them right now. I don't know if you can tell I'm feeling for anyone that's going through a tough time. I think just keep moving forward. You will get through it. And even if it's could have the worst possible outcome, just through it, just go through, just go straight at it. Yeah. I wish I had better. I had so much better than that. That's a
perfect way to end it right there. Listen, Frankie, I gotta appreciate you coming back on here. I know you got a busy schedule and all that, but I'm looking forward to what's in store for this summer, and of course down the road for LA 2028. And I'm sure you guys are going to get there, and I can't wait to see you guys improve on that bronze medal.
Thank you. No, this was fun to chat with you again. And trust me, I am very motivated I know how many people are following and how many people are excited to be a part of the journey as well. So for me, that's a big motivation as well, is to give everybody a show and bring them along for the ride. So we're excited, and lots of exciting things ahead for this team. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Let's not wait another 5 years. Okay.
Yeah, 4. We'll do 4.
We'll do 4. Okay, after the Olympics. All right. Thanks, Frankie.
Thanks, Randy.
Yeah. We outside the Chute. Yeah. Come on. Yo, we outside the Chute where the stories ignite. Fast pitch vibes under stadium lights. From the East Coast swing to the West Coast truth. We talk legends, rookies, and the wisdom of youth. Mic check 1, 2. Welcome to the zone where the podcast pops like a bat off the dome. Framer and Hopi, yeah, they keep it legit. Dropping knowledge every week, never missing a hit. From East Hands to Cali, they repping the sport. With guests who bring heat like a fastball court. Coaches, players, and fans in the mix. Talking hustle hard and championship tricks. Outside the Chute, where the stories unfold. Diamonds and dreams, silver and gold. Every pitch, every play, every tale they salute. We living that life outside capture a vibe where the grind meets glory and the spirits collide. They break it all down from the gear to the grind. With laughs, real talk, and a powerful mind. You want insight? They got it on lock from the dugout drama to the post-game shock. It's softball soul with a podcast beat where the field meets the mic. Now that's elite. So if you love the game, this the place to be. Tune in, turn up, let the stories run free. Outside the Chute, yeah, they changing the game. One episode at a time, building that fame. Outside the Chute, where the stories unfold. Diamonds and dreams, silver and gold. Every pitch, every play, every tale they salute. We living that life outside the Chute. Outside the Chute, where the stories unfold. Diamonds and dreams, silver and gold. Every pitch, every play, every